Government approves environmental permit for Wafi Golpu. Prime Minister appoints caretaker ministers. And SP PNG Hunters relocate to Queensland.
This is National MTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for National MTV News. The government has approved the environment permit for the Wafi Golpu project in Morobe province. The project was delayed for over 18 months due to disagreements between the Morobe provincial governments and landowners on terms of the deep sea mining tailings. The environmental impact statement granted will now allow the project to move to the next phase, that is the granting of the special mining lease.
To enable us to advance the project thus far in as far as signing now the approval in principle for environmental impact statement for the Wafi Golpu project. This decision will stand with our national government decision to give clearance for the environmental approval for EIS in as far as this mining project is concerned, and will now start to allow relevant state agencies to commence discussion, and we will move to the next phase. And let me encourage everyone, instead of standing in the same spot and discussions, we will move to the next phase. We are approving for the permit approval in principle, and we will now take every issue that was raised earlier, and we will now move into the next phase, going past this key milestone. And this process will include progress towards granting of SML, negotiations for the mining development contract between the state, the developer, and MOU with all relevant stakeholders, including provincial government, our relevant landowners, local governments, our developer, state, as well as those, as I said, in the identified environmental footprint area, or in our government's view and Morobe provincial government's view, possible study into what can also expand in those areas near what will be the environmental footprints. And so from the outset, let me thank Morobe provincial government. Whilst contest and discussion has been going back and forth, and it may have seemed long, let me sincerely appreciate Morobe provincial government and our governor for being an advocate for our people. You know, Pangu-led government is a government that is pro-people.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has appointed caretaker ministers to replace the 10 ministers who defected to the opposition camp, including Deputy Prime Minister Sambaso. Imbongu MP Pila Ningi will oversee the Attorney General Ministry. He was welcomed by staff of the Justice Department and will be the caretaker minister until a permanent appointment is announced. Minister Ningi met the department's executive management and secretaries in a small welcome ceremony.
I for one, I believe that you are Papua New Guineans. Where will you be buried? You're going to be buried in this country. If they tell me that Marabes told this man you did this thing wrong, then I can move. But greedy. And ICAC bill, we've just passed it. Next morning they took off. There's no excuse. Only protect their own interests. And I wanted to thank all the department and state solicitor, all of you guys go together, put the heck together. Now we've passed.
But first and foremost is we provide legal advice to the state. That advice comes through your office, through the office of the state solicitor. Every state agency in this country, the government from the office of the Prime Minister down, get legal clearance, legal advice from this department under your leadership through the office of the state solicitor. The second primary function that we have is to defend the state. Defend the state in all matters. Again, through your office, Attorney General.
The Ombudsman Commissioner has referred the member for Obura Wanenara Meraki Pefa and member for Telefomin Solan Mersim to the Office of the Public Prosecutor. Both MPs were referred on the 13th of this month. Kipefa's referral relates to the leader applying a sum of more than 120,000 Kinah from his district's DSRP funds to purchase a vehicle for his personal use in Port Moresby. The Ombudsman also alleges that Kipefa knowingly provided misleading information to the Ombudsman Commission. The member for Telefomin, on the other hand, has a long list of accusations, including failure to submit annual statements, failure to declare income, use of position for personal benefit, and failure to lodge corporate income tax, among others. The public prosecutor, Pondros Kaluin, said he would be going through the file to determine whether there is sufficient, credible, and convincing evidence to request the Chief Justice to appoint an appropriate leadership tribunal to inquire into the allegations of misconduct in office by the leaders. The Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance will now have an audit committee in place to ensure accountability in the institution. This was made possible through a partnership with the Finance Department and the Auditor General's Office. PLAG CEO Michael Barobe says this is to ensure the institution comply with existing laws. The audit committee was officially launched today.
In a small ceremony today, saw representatives from the Finance Department and the Auditor General's Office in attendance. The Pacific Institute of Leadership and Governance Audit Committee were officially launched by the Finance Department Deputy Secretary and the Deputy Auditor General. This now creates a pathway for the institution to be audited to ensure accountability and compliance.
Overall, when we come to do an audit, as you mentioned, is we express an opinion on the final statements that you provide. So we all know the final statements, they capture all the operations of the institute and your performance, we can say.
It's in a way it's support the management. In a way it's support the institutions so there's good governance, good process, everything is taking place.
According to PLAG CEO Michael Barobe, there has been no audit committee or an internal auditor in place since the establishment of the institution. But through the new PLAG Act 2017, a position was created for an internal auditor, and they are now working on establishing an audit committee.
Because PLAG, we have got so many partners out there in terms of delivery of training programs, in terms of funding. So they need to know what we are doing. Are we doing things that is what we should do, or we are simply going out? So at this committee, one way or the other, it promotes our existence here as a government premier training organization.
The audit committee will consist of 5 independent members of the public service, particularly from the Finance Department and the Office of the Auditor General. The committee will meet 4 times a year for audit purposes. The establishment of the committee is captured under the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and the Finance Department is committed to support the audit committee.
So the benefit of having be part of the audit committee is that you will be, your staff will have some further training through CIVA programs, further training in the program in USA. So that will enhance your auditors as well too, in terms of the skills and training and many other things that comes with it. So it's a very good thing that comes with it. So.
Rayon Lakingu National, MTV News.
The Lae City Authority CEO has highlighted the authority's plans to permanently fix roads and other infrastructure within Lae. Neil Ellery said LCA is aiming to do away with patch-up jobs and look at long-term maintenance. Mr. Ellery said LCA will be using the GST collections as base funding to additional funds for this new approach.
According to Lae City Authority CEO Neil Ellery, infrastructures in the city has been poorly maintained over the years. Ellery said this has resulted in thousands of Kinah wasted without any permanent infrastructure development.
And over the years, there's been patch-up jobs done on the roads and the lighting and the infrastructure, and that's cost hundreds and hundreds of thousands of Kinah.
Businesses have also felt the pinch of Lae's poorly maintained roads and infrastructure.
The cost of doing business in Lae is exacerbated by the fact that the infrastructure is so bad. So you've got potholes, there's repairs and maintenance on trucks, congestion, all sorts of things. That all adds to the cost of doing business in Lae. So
the Lae district has been struggling with funding constraints for the upkeep of the city's infrastructure over the years. This was until July this year, when the Lae City Authority was awarded 20% of the GST collections. This, however, is not enough to achieve LCA's plans for long-term maintenance to the city's infrastructures. Hence, the authority under Lae MP John Rosso's leadership is seeking partnership to counterfund the substantial amount required to fix all the roads and infrastructure completely.
The key one that we're looking at first and foremost is drainage. Drainage, because if we don't get our drainage right, the roads will always be affected by the heavy rain that we've got. So drainage throughout the city. The lighting, which we've already partnered up with a local company that's doing those, and then we'll be looking at the sealing of all the roads, and that's.
Charlene Airy, National MTV News, Lae.
National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Churches and NGOs have run safe houses for victims of gender-based violence. However, limited funding over the years paints a grim picture for the safe houses in Port Moresby as well as outside centres. BSP's Leadership Development Programme has come up with an initiative to assist victims of violence. They have started the One Kinah Campaign in conjunction with Bell EC Black Thursday initiative. Talitha Sengero and Ruby Patu from BSP were at a safe house today to deliver items that the staff contributed as part of their community service work.
This donation started off as an initiative by the Leadership Development Program with BSP. So the initiative came up when we thought we should do something and contribute back to the community. We ran a One Kinah campaign. We had a target of 3,000 Kinah. Fortunately, we raised 6,000 Kinah, so we did the first donation to a safe house. And surplus of that, we decided that we should look for another safe house and I guess give back to them or bless them with the surplus that we had. And it was very timely because they were actually looking for the things that we had got them. And yeah, so we did the donation today. And it's always good for, I guess, for us to come back and give to the community. And BSP has a lot of community projects that we currently run. And this is one of the things that the team from the Leadership Development Program has done.
So at BSP, we have what we call a Black Thursday. So staff on Thursdays, or every Thursdays, wear black just to, I guess, signify or stand against gender-based violence. So as Talita had mentioned, we're part of the Leadership Development Program and we came up with the One Kinah Campaign initiative. So it all started with the Black Thursdays. So what we did is we sent out an email, broadcasted it out to all the staff to contribute 1 Kinah over 6 weeks it was, and as mentioned, the target was 3,000, and that was mainly to purchase a laptop for that particular safe house. They wanted to get a database of all the victims that went through their safe house. So we raised 6,000, and we managed to get a laptop and a projector. And the surplus, we managed to get a fridge and a laptop and a little foodstuff for this particular safe house. Yeah.
Overcrowding in the Buimo Correctional Institute has been an ongoing concern for several years. Commanding Officer Judy Tara said this has led to the increase of TB cases in the cells. Apart from TB, they identified other sicknesses as well.
Buimo's commanding officer, Chief Superintendent Judy Tara, said the overcrowding has led to the fast spread of the 32 confirmed TB cases now in camp. While TB is the main concern, there are also other sicknesses identified.
Prior to the COVID-19, we had a huge overcrowding that took us almost to just over 1,000, and we did transfers up to Baisu and to Chimbu and to Medeng, and it took us down to 900 just at the beginning of the year.
To help sick inmates, the CS officers and their families started the feeding program 4 weeks ago. Every Wednesday, inmates from the sick bay are given cooked balanced meals. Lay's main market has supported the initiative with garden produce.
Some heavy come up with enough police by looking like he give more some lighter punishment where all work himself walk outside, only punishable outside, that's all ember right. Only bring him all money come well cases where legally to mass way enough deal want to sell more get money come only pass to mass now.
While initiatives like this are being done to help inmates, overcrowding remains an ongoing issue. Buimo's commanding officer Judy Tara said these sicknesses have contributed to jail breakouts in the past years. Philia Pisep, National MTV News, Lay.
The lack of access to clean water supply remains a major concern for people in rural Papua New Guinea. In provincial towns where there are no water supply systems in place, the places of contracting preventable diseases are very high, sometimes causing death. But here is a success story from a small community at Yufa in the Mimanalo Rural LLG in Goroka District.
Sister in charge of Yufa, Nathero Diocese, is a local who has been serving as the only nurse here for close to 5 years now.
Milk sabelo heavy place la 8 post lo here. And big place straight there. No got place for what's here. No got water come inside. No got toilet. No got all something. Mr. Apple same na. Time you play come also na help me lig na me look me say big place something in back come here.
Her experience and the challenges she encounters on a daily basis reflects what other nurses and community health workers face throughout the district. In one day, she sees at least 30 patients.
Typhoid, na diarrhea. In come a big platruna, me try more at the best you go na. Me come sort all same logan stop here. Titi you come inside na put him the slab lo basiani. Tamol put him bucket na same all toki mipla tu toki mol community teach him all. Working all same year him help him planty. So now me no more looking all diarrhea na typhoid to work lo katan now.
Typhoid and diarrhea have been listed as the most reported public health concern for the people of Goroka District. In 1998, more than 20 years ago, a study conducted and published by the National Library of Medicine recorded a monthly admission of patients to the Goroka General Hospital for typhoid-related cases. The latest outbreak in typhoid in Eastern Highlands was at the University of Goroka in 2019.
What we are intending to achieve from this project is to see that the healthcare facility has a proper wash facility in place, also for the schools. Now, for healthcare facilities is to ensure that there is wash facility in place where that makes it easy for the healthcare workers as well as for the patients, and most importantly for mothers, especially in labor. So the iga wara stap na help mol mama na pikinini. Lo school me looking because no got water.
Under the Clean Pella Community Project, Yufa has been selected as one of the 9 health facilities included in the national government's WASH project. Improvements at the aid post include the installation of wash facilities and the digging up of a rubbish pit to properly dispose waste.
Time people come inside and people start walk inside the house. Plan to clean up people walk inside the house. Plan medication too. Good blood use him. Overdue. So people need to clean him. Oh, something can straighten him. And then people build him stuff. You can look up and people build one bench to have stuff. Before you got bench. And bench and stuff. And people build him. People small polani come na nearly come na people build him. And people make him see all patient by sit down na. By organ come on next in treatment. One thing water stuff, soapy stuff. And simple something where time of sick patient they come looking, or some come looking, and I'm tintin kirab lomba wash him hand now. So this la pass him lo wash him hand and people work promote him. Community come lo 8 posts, come lo schools, elementary, and now I'm start lo promote him. So now I'm building this line inside lo here. And then you go backside, you play digging one lily hole or pit, and lo cooking more the rubbish. So or rubbish you can stop number. All the rubbish must cook inside one particular area.
These basic hygiene practices are aimed at minimizing preventable diseases at the community level. Diseases such as typhoid and diarrhea. And with the installation of tank facilities at 8 posts, it is aimed at assisting both patients and nursing officers. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News, Goroka.
Nurses at the Medeng Town Clinic have been attending to patients in set-up tents outside of the building. Second in charge of the town clinic, Sister Janet Bogian, says this is because the structure is very old, with cracks in most sections of the building. However, it is not safe for both patients and nurses to operate in an old building.
The town clinic nurses have been setting up tents to attend to patients since March of this year. Sister Janet Bogian, the second in charge of the clinic, says they operated under set-up tents outside of the building for 4 months.
Since March, people walk outside. You go July, now people go inside the building and using back door.
In July, the nurses gave up and used the clinic's back door as the main exit and entry point for patients. Last Friday, the ladder leading up to the back door of the clinic broke, forcing the nurses to set up tents again.
Last week Friday, step ladder backside them broke.
The Medeng Town Clinic will need a major overhaul in order for them to move back in and attend to patients. For now, they cannot see patients inside the building as the structure lacks maintenance work for over 10 years. Even the ablution block is not conducive for both patients and health workers to use. The floorboards had cracks, even the ceiling has breaks. Cupboard shelves and other wall frames of the building are infested with termites.
People come sit down outside the same na story lo sit do mi play no good down. People supposed to stay inside lo house na mi play na story lo on sick mi pagatlem.
The facility serves about 19,000 people in its catchment area, apart from getting patients from the other catchment areas. Now, it is important that the clinic remains open for the people to access. The nurses at the clinic are appealing to responsible authorities to fix the building so that they can move into the building and attend to patients. Martha Luis, National EMTV News, Medeng.
Lay Police boss Chris Kunyanban is urging residents to stop buying items from street sellers. He made these comments following concerns raised over the increase of street vendors in Lay's main bus stop areas. Kunyanban says they continue to sell these items because people continue to buy from them.
If there's a market, there's a willing to sell. There's a will to sell. You can buy more phone on the street. You can buy more boil on the street. Ember you all be milo polishing. You buy boy finish, you go and talk to police come rosimol, but you encourage him on Manila Salim boy. You're creating an avenue where all but still selling because they can see the potential, they can see the money is flowing at the bus stop. Public must discourage from buying those things coming from other source or like market goods like boy daka. You buy them, go and buy them long or designated or market. Time you buy them now.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the Kinah closed unchanged at $0.2850 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your Kinah is buying $0.2775 $0.3760 Australian dollars, $0.2260 euro and 28.14 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading lower, coffee, cocoa and copper are closed higher. Crude oil is trading lower, palm oil closed higher and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading higher and the All Ordinaries is trading higher. When we come back, rural businessmen struggling to make ends meet and New Power donates to Papa Village outside NCD. Details after the break. Welcome back to the news. A 49-year-old father of three from Morebe's Kabum district said the struggle is really in the rural areas for those trying to run small businesses. Sam Jagan only completed grade 3 of his primary education. Jagan now owns and operates 3 businesses. He started off as a local vendor and his business grew with the support of his families.
Sam Jagan only completed grade 3 of his primary education. That didn't stop him from finding a job. He was later employed as a handyman with Downer Construction in Goroka, Eastern Islands Province, when he resigned in 2004. From 2006 to 2007, Jagan bought goods including clothes and utensils from Leh and sold them here at the Kabum station to the locals. That's where he generated income and expanded his business. He began buying coffee and then this vehicle. A guest house was his next plan.
I'm 14. Now I'm maybe like meeting to walk him house below me. Me not thinking to walk him slakain. Behind me cut him timber now. And me talking me awesome. You must walk him house, guest house. And that's la time man la Mary bincam, Mary buka bincam na give one la course la Tumblr la Kabum primary school now. And talk awesome. You la walk him good house. And talk, you la walk him good house here. And you la best team now walking fire inside here now. Me like sleep here, me pain him hard long come sleep on them you la lay so you la can walk him awesome. And talk all same here, that's la talk. And me kissing me. Oh, and meeting him now. Me must walk him girl's house.
Kabum district is one of the 9 districts of Morbe that is only accessible by small planes and ship. There is currently no road linking the district to Leh. The people of Kabum ship their building materials including roofing iron, post and cement bags to Wasu, Tewaisiasi district that shares border with Kabum. The materials are then transported by a PNV to the station. They are then carried by the locals to their destination.
Me contribute. Put him more fuel, put him cargo, me like walking road go now. Bien member he looks over star now. Me give him district, give money to district now. Bien not walking legally as also. Heavy blow road me stop yet. Me bla simol cargo long ya, me bla say go some comba, go long and to Diamos. So road ya, me no good la Thomas. So this time I give maybe long me plan yeah. Don't walking business he go here, will give him big play.
The 49-year-old father of 3 now owns and operates 3 businesses, including a hire car business. Sam Jagan said his businesses has made him help a lot of people in the district. The father of 3 said he wants his children to be educated and help develop Kabum district.
Me like walking more same long, all picking in by looks also. I'm just like in life and me start long town. Now by all 2 my strong long go to school, Naxim good plus I stop now. Look out him on man Mary.
Julie Badui, Owa, National EMTV News.
New Power Limited today continue their tank donation down the coast from Porabada village to Papa village. The tank donations are part of New Power Limited's community engagement program. The handover of the 9,000-litre water tanks took place at Papa Village and was witnessed by elders of the village. New Power Limited's External Affairs Manager Wellington Belawa officially handed the tanks over today.
New Power is one of its program is to support the community with clean drinking water, and the best way we can do immediately is to provide water tanks. The water tanks are given to the community at the request of the councillors and the community as to what their needs are.
Just like the nearing Porabada village, Papa village also faces a scarcity of water. It's no telling that the whole of Hiri West faces this same issue, and the donation of tanks to these villages by New Power Limited provides some relief for the people.
There is a common byline that goes, water is life. Water can be life. In definition, anything to do with water has everything to do with life. And the management and staff of New Power Limited for the great gesture in donating us ×3 water storage tanks. That's including all the components that go with it to help sustain our well-being and our livelihood. Thank you.
The 3 water tanks were distributed to the churches in Papa Village by the village councillor. New Power Limited has also made a commitment to donate 3 more tanks to Papa Village before the end of this year. And Trukai Sports is next. Dennis Aurora is at the sports desk.
Thank you, Helen. Plans are going ahead for Hunters to move to Queensland for the Interest Super Cup next year. Join me for the details in Trukai Sports after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Matthew Church, the SP PNG Hunters coach and PNG RFL, today announced 37 players who will be part of the SP PNG Hunters 2021 train-on squad. The team is expected to get into camp on the 29th of November for a month-long pre-season before going off for break during the festive season.
Coaching staff had to do it as well.
The SP PNG Hunters are looking to youth and experience with 37 players selected for the train-on squad for the 2021 season. The announcement was made by Matthew Church, the coach of the SP PNG Hunters, in Port Moresby today. The team is made up of old and new recruits, all from this year's season of the Digicel Cup competition. The 37 players recruited are as follows: Stargro Tamian from the Vipers, Kevin Apple from the Vipers, Brendan Gotuno from the Vipers, Ase Boas from the Vipers, Enoch Maki from the Vipers, Junior Rao from the Mendi Muruks, Stanton Albert from the Mendi Muruks, Rico Jimmy from the Gulf Iso, Brendan Nima from the Goroka Lahanis, Benji Kot from the Kimbe Cutters, Emmanuel Waine from the Wagi Tumbe, Casey Dixon from Wagi Tumbe, Sunny Lipu from the Enga Mioks, Radley Brower from the Enga Mioks, Ben Kennedy from the Enga Mioks, Edene Gebi from the Snacks Tigers, Joe Joshua from the Snacks Tigers, Jokedi Bire from the Snacks Tigers, Charlie Simon from the Snacks Tigers, Junior Rob from the Snacks Tigers, Mark Pitti, also from the Snacks Tigers, Sylvester Namo from the Tigers, and Edwin Ipape as well from the Snacks Tigers. Norman Brown from the Hella Wigmen, Gilmore Paul from the Hella Wigmen, Solo Wane from the Wigmen, Solomon Pokari from the Wigmen, Judah Rimbu from the Wigmen, Samuel Yegib from the Wigmen, Jeffrey Robert from the Wigmen, and Valentine Culligan as well from the Wigmen. Terry Wapi from the Rabaul Gurias, Jordan Pat from the Rabaul Gurias, Ila Alu from the Rabaul Gurias, Stanley Olo from the Rabaul Gurias, Wartoa Puara Jr. from the Rabaul Gurias, and closing off number 37, Apple Capinias, also from the Rabaul Gurias.
When you're relocating to southeast Queensland, you need to look at how the balance of the squad. So I've essentially picked that squad in mind, essentially trying to name 2 teams of 13 So everyone a double in each position basically.
While many old faces have been recruited back into the train-on squad, Chad says this is an opportunity for a transitional period of leadership.
I've named a number of young guys in that squad. It's essentially a transitional period. We have a lot of those guys that I have named are probably getting closer to the end of their careers than they were to the start. So it's about a transferring of leadership to some younger guys.
Church says it is important to get the young players into the team at an early age to have them exposed to the high level of football at the Intra-Super Cup level, where there is a likelihood of NRL teams picking them up for contracts.
Rugby league and development systems, I know that the younger we can expose them to the ISC, the more likelihood that NRL or Super League club is going to pick them up. So we need to continue that as a pathway, and the Hunters progressing through to those higher or elite level competitions, because it's only going to strengthen our national program.
Hunters will be relocating to the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, but Church says the team will be gathering at camp on the 29th of November in Port Moresby for pre-season training, with their first break to be on the 23rd of December for the festive season. The team will return to camp on January 3rd, 2021.
Still to come in Trukai Sports, some news on cricket, and the All Blacks recover from their shock loss. Details after a break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To cricket, the week-long Cricket PNG Talent ID tournament in the Central Province concluded with Keapara team winning the tournament. Keapara won by 6 wickets, defeating hosts Hula at the Raukela Cricket Ground in Hula Village. William Maha, former Barramundi captain and Cricket PNG board chairman, said the inaugural tournament was a success, adding it is a great pathway for untapped talents in rural Central Province. 4 new talents were identified from this tournament. To rugby union, now it's the Wallabies' turn this weekend as the All Blacks reveal what they've been doing this week to recover from the shock loss.
It's being called the Argentinian Wall, the suffocating defence that's been tormenting the All Blacks since the weekend.
Don't want to feel like that again.
But before the rematch, Australia will get a crack. Both camps giving their thoughts today.
The All Blacks tried to go through them all day.
And we struggled to break that down.
You got to be prepared to go through the middle of them and squeeze them up, and then play outside them.
They didn't leave a lot of space out there.
There's always space somewhere, whether that's through your kicking, whether that's through going through the middle.
That's been our big focus this week, just how we are going to break that wall down.
As they work on solutions, the All Blacks are trying to ignore all the criticism, especially Captain Sam Cane.
We've got amazing fans, but we've also got some pretty brutal ones. They may like to think they know a lot about the game of rugby. In reality, they don't.
Oh, look, I feel for him. There's a fair bit of pressure on, but he's the right man for the job. He'd certainly have my support if I was involved there.
We can't let that burden of disappointment hang over us like a black cloud. Otherwise, we're really going to struggle over here.
It's at times like this that leaders such as Adi Savea come to the fore.
If there's anyone that's going through anything or getting hateful comments or comments that really affect them, that they can come to us and we can talk about it.
A sign that it's not all doom and gloom, Savea poked fun at media when asked about his mouthguard problems.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. Hey, it matches your shirt too.
Reminding players and fans All Blacks are allowed to smile even in a week as tough as this one.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports. Helen will be back with the weather report for the next 24 hours. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus. With you always.
A look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region. Thundery rain drizzles, then cloudy in Port Moresby. Rain showers, then fine weather later in Daru. Thundery rain, then cloudy in Kerma, Alotau and Popondita. In the Mamase region, occasional rain showers and drizzles tonight, then cloudy morning in Leh. Possible thundery rain showers tonight, then fine partly cloudy morning tomorrow in Medeng. Rain showers and possible thunder tonight with a fine partly cloudy morning in Wewak and mostly fine weather in Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, chances of thundery rain showers tonight, then fine partly cloudy morning in Lorengau. Thundery rain showers easing, then cloudy morning in Kavieng. Partly cloudy tonight with morning rain drizzles in Kokopo and Rabaul and rain showers and the thunder easing tonight. Then a fine cloudy morning in Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, rain showers and drizzles tonight, then morning fog in Mount Hagen. Light showers and drizzles tonight, then morning fog in Goroka and Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. Some light drizzles tonight with morning fog patches tomorrow.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's the way it is this Thursday, the 19th of November 2020. On behalf of the news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.